knocked down the wall, got the car out, and it drove. And it was the first driving automobile in the United States. And then he started a huge car company. So how many of you guys, your parents drive Fords? Are there a lot of Ford drivers? That's from Henry Ford. So one of the life lessons that we want to get from Henry Ford is all of the jobs that he did that were just a lot of hard work, and they didn't seem to be getting him anywhere. But then God used them all and put them all together, just like Gladys Allward. So we've got a link there with those two guys, don't we? Just like Gladys Allward, so that he could make something really great. So in this picture down, we're going to do this in science class, so don't do that right now. So let's go to the Balkans versus the Baltics, okay? Do you feel an itchy tick on you? That's a Baltic, where the Balkans are a little bit further below. So it says, let's tick off the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Let's tick off the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Different from the Balkan Peninsula touching the Black Sea. The Ottoman Empire is near that peninsula. The Dardanelles Straits cut a path between. Now, this is very important for World War I because the Baltics are higher. They're very near Sweden. And it's Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Can you guys say that with me? Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Those are the Baltics. The Balkans, so let's say it like this. The Balkans, can you guys say it like this? The Balkans are below the Baltics. And those are by the Dardanelles Straits. So let's put a fist here, and that would be the Black Sea. And then the Dardanelles Straits would be your little pinky. So hello. So Dardanelles Straits goes right here. Okay, so this is the Black Sea, this is the Dardanelles Straits, and this right here whoop, is the Mediterranean Ocean, or the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so let's do Black Sea, Dardanelles Straits, whoop, is the Mediterranean Ocean. Why do I keep saying that? Black Sea, Dardanelles Straits, whoop, Mediterranean Sea is right there. And so above the Dardanelles Straits is the Balkans, and below the Dardanelles Straits was the Ottoman Empire, which is today Turkey. So why do we keep on saying this about the Dardanelles Straits and the Ottoman Empire and the Balkans? It's because this Black Sea, this little bitty pinky access, is the only way out for most of Russia to get out into the Mediterranean Sea. So that was really important. So everyone go, the Dardanelles Straits are very important to Russia. Hello, I'm the Dardanelles Straits and I'm important to Russia. And very, very important to Russia. And so when World War I started, the Russians really wanted to protect this access from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. So that's why it's so important. Your pinky is so important. All right, so in here, the Baltics are up here, and the Balkans are just a little bit below it on this map, but very important difference. All right, so we are ready for our timeline cards. Yay! Timeline card time. All right, so pause. Get out your first timeline card. So pause. Boop. Okay, are we ready for Albert Einstein? I'm ready for Albert Einstein. So it's week 2, card 2, Albert Einstein. And on the front, maybe you can put the wild hair picture of him with his tongue sticking out. His hair looks crazy wild, and his tongue is going like that. And it's one of the most famous pictures of him. So on the back, we're going to put down that Albert Einstein was a physicist who had the theory of who wrote about the theory of relativity. But let's talk about him really quickly. So he was born in Germany. His parents were Jewish. They moved around. They moved to Italy, and then he moved to Switzerland, and he did not like school very much. And so he didn't like school at all. So he dropped out of high school in Germany, and he went to school in Italy, and then he graduated from college in Italy. But guess what? He made his physics professor angry. And so when everyone else was getting a job in the physics department, like it just was something that you did, you graduated and then you got a job in that department, they didn't offer Albert Einstein a job. So he couldn't find work. And so he went to Switzerland and he found work as a patent and trademark assistant, someone who looked over the patent and trademarks for Switzerland. And so it seemed like a demotion. So we're on a theme this week, aren't we? Gladys Aylward, and then Henry Ford, and now Albert Einstein. It seemed like what they were doing was very menial work. It was below them. But guess what? Once again, the theme continues. Albert Einstein said that that was the best education he ever had because he would look at the plans that people wanted to patent and he would run through them in his head and think whether that would actually work or not. And it was like getting an education for him. And so it was about during this time that he came up with a theory of relativity. And so the really short way of thinking of relativity is that time can either be faster or slower relative to how you're seeing it and where you are. So we've talked about this way back in Newton's law of corpuscular light. And then we talked about it last year with time energy components. And then this year we're talking about it with Albert Einstein. And so what we've discussed in the past is that scientists have found that the faster you speed up, the faster you go, the slower time goes. And you can't really see it. So Albert Einstein gives an example is if you're on a train and you're going, or in a car, it looks like things are outside. It looks like they're going. But if you're talking to someone, like if you're in a car, you're talking to someone, they seem like they're stable. And vice versa if you're outside of it. And so what we discussed in the past is that a lot of times we think of time as linear, as a past, a present, and a future. But we know that God sees time differently because he tells us what's even going to happen in Revelation. He tells us everything that's going to happen in the Bible. And so he sees time more like a loaf of bread, where it's all there and it's just different slices of time. So it's just a different way to think of time. And you'll go into this more in your videos, and then we'll discuss it a little bit more in science class. But it's called the theory of relativity, and there are a couple of videos that help explain it better. Now back to Albert Einstein. So since he was Jewish during World War II, his life was very much in danger. So he came to the United States and he worked in Princeton in the United States, in Princeton, New Jersey, and he worked as a physicist for the rest of his life, and he was known as one of the smartest people on the planet. So he's really a neat guy. And so let's put up some facts about Albert Einstein. So he was born in Germany. He didn't like school, and we're saying that because just because you don't learn the same way everyone else learns doesn't mean you're not a genius. That he worked as a patent reviewer, and that helped him so much that he defined relativity, the theory of relativity, and that he escaped to the United States. So those are really cool facts about Albert Einstein. So let's go on to our next card. Are you ready? All right, our third card for this week is Tsar Nicholas II. Are you ready for him? Tsar Nicholas II was the son of the man who did the Trans-Siberian Railroad. And remember, his dad died in a train accident, and so he took it over. He was only in his mid-20s when he became Tsar, and he did not want to become Tsar at all. He just was completely unprepared for it. He was a very weak man anyway. He just wasn't into ruling at all. He had a great education, but wasn't really his thing to rule. And so he started out, and even on his wedding, they had ceremonies. So his dad died, and so just a few months after his dad died, he had his wedding, and they had all these ceremonies, and there was this stadium where 14,000 people were trampled to death. And he went ahead with the balls and the events for his wedding that night. And so the people were like, wow, he doesn't care about the people of Russia if he's willing to have parties for himself after 14,000 Russian people died because of an event for him. And so it kind of set the tone for him, his rule over Russia. And so he thought that he had supreme rule over Russia. Now let's go back. It used to be a couple hundred years before where that was considered right all over Europe. So if you guys remember, we talked about different British rulers who thought they had complete control and they got in some trouble for it. And then last year we had King Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette who thought the same thing. Remember, they got really rich, they didn't really care about the people. So you would have thought that the Tsar would have thought about this, or at least listened or read about it somewhere, but no, he didn't. And so he did the same mistake again. He got himself all these riches, he had all these wonderful palaces, and he let his people, whom he was supposed to take care of, either starve or go hungry. There were many peasants. They didn't have great industry. He wasn't building up Russia and the Russian people. He was thinking of them as his servants to take care of him, and he wasn't thinking about how to take care of them. And so every time they would start to revolt or get upset, he would just try to kill them, because he would say, fight terror with terror. Well, the people were just trying to get his attention. And so in the October Revolution, the whole bunch of women and children were peacefully marching on the Winter Palace, and they were holding signs in support of him because they actually wanted him to be their king or their czar, and they actually wanted to do the right thing. And these people did not have any guns with them. They were just marching to the Winter Palace to say, we need to change things to help the people that you're supposed to be in charge of, and wake him up. And instead, he had his troops fire on them. And it just was so horrible what he did, but it turned the hearts of his people against him. And so he joined the U.S. and he joined the British in World War I, and that cost Russia a ton of money. So we're back to last year. If you